pick is different. I don't normally... I played these green Tortex picks for years and years and years, but in the last year or so, I've changed over to... Oh, I don't have one. I changed over to the Primetones by Dunlop. And I have one in here. Anyway, happy Friday. How are you guys? All right, we got some friendly faces. K. Michael P. Howdy, y'all. How's your mom and them? And life is good. I'm coming in with the gaslight is on. Because yesterday I did the video with Shoddy, and it was awesome. It was so fun. So Shoddy and I talked about what it's like to buy and sell guitars in Egypt, and I mean, it was a really cool thing. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's really cool. He and I just feel like we are of the same heart and just happen to live, what, 5,000 or 6,000 miles apart. But he's awesome, and it was a really fun time yesterday. But I came in, I'm leaving, I'm taking next week completely off, and I will be unaccessible. You cannot get a hold of me next week. So we're going to the beach, and it's going to be really fun and really good because I've taken time away from stuff, but I still bring my camera and I still watch YouTube analytics, and I still am on Instagram, and I'm answering questions and answering emails. And so with this, I'm going full blown. I'm going to the beach, and I'm not gonna do anything. So anyway, yeah, tell me where you guys are coming from. How's your life? What's going on? 14 people, 19 people so far. Make sure you get a thumbs up too. That's one of the most helpful things that you can do if you're, if you want to make sure that YouTube passes this on and helps me. It's an easy and painless way. I wonder why, because there is a genuine boost to my channel if you hit thumbs up on a video, but it is obnoxious. It really bums me out that I have to say it regularly. I know as a YouTube fan, it drives me crazy. But yeah, this week's been good. So it's interesting. I have my phone here so I can see comments. But live chat, that's what I need to be in. Okay. So what's Raphael say? Raphael says, all I see is just an outburst. What's he say there?
I currently feel super frustrated. I'm in a spot I can play most pop songs but lack inspiration for complex songs. So I want to play are either too hard or too easy.
Oh, that's really good. I'm glad you also said that. I mean, I'm with you. I'm in probably the deepest rut I've been in my guitar playing. Because I'm now doing so much guitar stuff in life that I'm not adding to my skill set. And so what I find is I keep playing the same things over and over. And do you ever just get annoyed with your own guitar playing? Like, I'm just tired of the sounds of everything I'm playing. Just an outburst. Sebastian, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida. That's awesome. Man, this guitar has really thumpy strings. I found a really cool... Man, there's a lot of Florida. Hector's in Orlando. Danny! Hey, buddy. Raphael, yes, I'm very annoyed currently with myself. So hopefully it's not yourself. Hopefully it's your playing. I know every now and then I feel this deep rut, and I just know that I need to commit a couple hours to just watching some lesson videos and just learning new songs. It's also helpful to pay attention to what songs you've been really enjoying recently, and then just learn those. And the thing I like, and you kind of talked about it earlier, was it's really interesting to like actually learn how to play something, not just like learn just like the cowboy chord versions of songs, but to actually learn like how to do like Brown Eyed Girl is a really complicated song if you're actually playing it the way that they play it. So anyway, Yeah, this is my Husson Dalton TDM mahogany on the back and sides, and then Sitka spruce. This thing is so... Now the camera... So this is a new camera, a new setup on how we get everything into the computer, and it's making all the colors. I look very tan and very... my beard looks very red. We don't know. I haven't figured out the color profiles yet, but this guitar is very kind of gold and roasty color in real life, but it looks a little exaggerated on the camera, I think. But yeah, this is my Husson Dalton TDM. I made an offer on a TDR today that I might be able to buy just outside of Georgia. I'm gonna try and buy it on Saturday. It's a TDR. It's bear claw spruce top and then zero coat back and sides. And I think I can get it for $4. But if I say it now, somebody's gonna figure out where it is and make a better offer, which is good. Somebody should get it. Northern Ireland. Jack, glad you're here, buddy. Tim in San Diego. The Great Beyond in London. Cool. Well, yeah, this is this is my Husson Dalton TDM, and I've been thinking about, I've got some exciting things coming. So this guitar, it feels like it sounds different after I put an LR Baggs lyric in it. I don't think it actually does. I think I'm just in my head about it. But also plugged in with the lyric, this pickup is very honky sounding, and it has this like mid push quacky thing that happens. So I talked to the guys at LR Baggs this week, and they're gonna send me one of the voice print DIs. I'm gonna check that thing out. I've been really excited about that. I'm just trying to take my whole acoustic setup to the next level, and so I'm gonna play with that. So I won't get that until I get back from next week. They're sending me a pickup. I'm gonna put a pickup in my Pano octave mandolin. I'm gonna put an element in that one, and that should be really cool. I need to play more mandolin on the channel. It's one of my favorite instruments to play, and but it just stays in the house. It doesn't usually come out to the studio here with me. But this guitar sounds awesome, and yeah, I definitely am in my head about it's changing after I put that pickup, because it's just a tiny little microphone. So anyway, I'm sure that it's just in my head. But I'm going to trade this out. I also have another guitar I want to play just for a minute, and I'll tell kind of another story of what's going on this week. What was that last one that just came in? Oh boy. Sorry, Geld. Oh, whoops.
Last one that just came in from Steven?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I play an H&S 00SP,
yep.
sticker, mahogany top, and back and sides. Maybe too much guitar for me. That's why I'm watching today.
No, it's not too much guitar for you. If you can afford it, if it doesn't make your family sacrifice, if it encourages you, if it inspires you, yeah, that's the right guitar for you. I have a video called I Don't Deserve This Guitar. It's Guitar Lies, you probably believe. I did it a while ago. And yeah, so anyway. So this is the Guild D55. I've had this guitar for a couple months. I really, really enjoy this guitar. Now I will say, I want to tell some of my full story on this guitar. So this guitar came to me, it came off of the road. It was on tour with Alicia Keys, which is crazy. That still blows my mind that it went from Alicia Keys touring the world. Now I understand it's COVID and the world was different. They didn't tour that much last year, but went from Alicia Keys band to just a dude who lives in the mountains and loves guitars. It's not lost on me how cool it is that I got to play this for a long time, and I'm very, very thankful to Guild for letting me borrow it. So this is the full fat D55. They get no nicer. They get no, how do I say that? They do not get any better from Guild. So this is Sitka spruce top, East Indian rosewood back and sides, really beautiful 3-piece mahogany neck, and then it's this big regal crown logo up top, open gear gold tuners, and has the LR Baggs. This has the full-blown Anthem. So it's a really cool guitar, and I tried so hard to get them to let me keep it, and they just told me this week that it's just not going to work out, that this guitar has to go to other players and other demos. They offered for me to buy it, but I just, even buying it at artist pricing, this is a $3,800 guitar. Even at the really great discount that would come from buying an artist model, I'm just, starting out a small business and have almost 2 employees. Dylan, I haven't told you that. I'm also hiring a personal assistant in the next couple weeks to help me just figure out some admin stuff. But with all that said, I can only buy so many guitars. I just bought the Paget Model 1. And so, anyway, this guitar is going to get packed up and sent back. It'll get mailed out today. And I'm going to miss it. So I'm going to play it for a minute. And it's in Dadged, which is my normal go-to. Let's see if I can play something in Dadged that I haven't played 10,000 times. What is it? I came up with a crazy thing yesterday. It was very weird. I don't know, I can't think of it now. So this guitar, I've talked a lot about this guitar. It's a 25 and 5/8 inch scale length, so it's long and it feels like this big Gibson jumbo, but it has this real warmth and kind of depth to how it plays and sounds that reminds me a lot of really old Guilds. I don't know. I've said lots about this guitar, and it's kind of crazy because it's just the new Guild has captured so much of the mojo and the style of the old ones. Hey, Sam Quattrell. That's why he's in here. And let's see what else is going on. Looking forward to the Rob Chapman conversation. Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm blown away that Rob Chapman, Mr. Chappers himself, is going to be here. And I just sent him a message through Instagram, and he, within a couple minutes, was like, "Sure, I'll do that. That'd be really fun." So we'll talk about more about that. We'll have the announcement at the end, but that's going to be September 20th. So not this coming Monday, but the Monday after. So 10 days from now, 11 days from now, it'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern time in the U.S. because he's in Malta, so it'll be in Central European time for him. But that's a good way to just stress somebody out, just have an ever-moving bass line. Can't talk and play and think and be funny. Well, I'm rarely funny, but anyway. So, anything else before we get Rob Chapman? Got caught shilling for a music college he was involved with. Oh, I don't know about that. That's all MPB. Or what's that guy's name? KDH. That guy's a bit of a shit stirrer. And Rob's always been a good dude, and I feel like few people have had as much impact as helping people find the right guitars for them. So anyway, I'm really excited. I've never actually talked to him, just through messages here and there. Jack says, opinions on the Takamine Santa Fe series. Thanks, Jeremy. I don't know. I haven't played. I don't really like Takamine. I haven't played that many in the last couple of years. I just recently found out that Takamine is owned by ESP, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, I've never been to Malta either. Maybe Rob will invite me. Raphael says, is Dadged also called Celtic tuning? It is. Yeah, DADGAD. I have a video that's coming out. I'll put it out after this. That will just be, it explains some of what tuning do I always play in, and how do you go from standard to Dadged? That's one of the Q&A questions. So, you have a question? What's that one?
Thoughts on the Epiphone Texan, not original high-priced ones, but the new $700 one.
Oh, the inspired by Gibson Epiphone Texans, I think. Or they also have the Montana-made Epiphones but they're a little more than that. I think they're $1,200-$1,400. But anyway, I think they're good guitars. Like the Epiphone Master Built has been really good for a long time. That's probably the best of the Epiphones. The Epiphone Texans, I mean, the big thing that you want to avoid in any import guitar is thick polyurethane finish. Like, polyurethane's not the end of the world, but when it's those really thick, really plasticky finishes, that's going to be trouble. And then the other one is when you get guitars that Epiphone guitars typically have sounded really thin, and the hardest thing for an affordable guitar to do is to have good bass projection and to have a lot of presence. Usually they're really trebly and really punchy, but they lack any real kind of guts behind them. So Josh says, I have a LR Bag's full Anthem in my D18 and I'm interested in the Tone Print DI. Me too. LR Baggs has always been the best tool I know of to make a guitar actually sound like a real guitar. That's my biggest issue with Fishman, is that they just don't sound like real guitars. They sound like an acoustic guitar, or what we've been told an acoustic guitar should sound like. And even at their best, they're saying, well, we're using this and we're using some digital sorcery to make it sound like a good microphone and a good guitar in a studio, and it doesn't sound like your actual guitar. So that's what kills me, is like, you pay a bunch of money to get a D18, that sounds awesome, and you want it to sound like that guitar live, and it just doesn't. So anyway, what about Faith guitars? I'm in the market for a new acoustic. I haven't seen any Faith guitars in the US. Tyler says, I also suffer from the placebo effect when acoustics have pickups. Can't stand it for some reason. Wait, hold on. Tell me more about that. What does that mean? I also suffer from the placebo effect when acoustics have pickups. The placebo. Dylan, what do you think he means by that?
I don't know.
Do you think, is it just because... Okay, so certain pickups, it's like putting EMGs in a Les Paul, like an Epiphone Les Paul. Like, EMGs sound like EMGs. They take the rest of your guitar out of the equation. And I think the same thing can happen with certain acoustic guitar pickups. You can get to where it sounds like a guitar. Like, it sounds like that pickup and that pressure on a saddle and that kind of thing. But it doesn't necessarily sound like your guitar. So that's rare. On the other side, when you get to pickups that are just microphones, you get the same you get the opposite problem. You're like, oh, it just sounds like that guitar, too close, too woofy, all that stuff. Anyway, thoughts on Epiphone Master Built Zenith? Not sure if you know it. I don't. I don't know what the Zenith part of that is, but usually they're made in Japan. I don't know if that's true anymore. The last couple I've seen have been made in China. Anyway, we can talk more about that later on. Just seen a video where a guy plays a Epiphone J200. I don't think it sounded like a Gibson. It sounded like a Takamine. Yep. I mean, laminate back and sides guitars, thick polyurethane finish. So, yeah. Evan says, not really a question, but I recently left my gigging guitar in its case for a good while. When I picked it up out of the case and played it, I remembered I loved it. So, sign of the right guitar. That is perfect, and that's a great segue. So, let's jump in. So, the topic this week, and we're not gonna go the full hour, I don't think, just because, like I said, I'm starting this live show with the gaslight on. I'm not gaslighting, which I still don't feel like I actually understand what that phrase means. Like, I keep hearing people say it, and I feel like I get it, but then my wife tells me I'm using it wrong. So, who knows? But yeah. So, with all that said, let's jump in. Let's hit that first one. So the first question, can you read it to me, Dylan?
Oh, yep. 5 signs that you bought the wrong guitar.
That's right. Okay, I remember now. 5 signs you bought the wrong guitar. Number 1 is...
The strings are dead when you play it.
Yeah, the strings are dead when you play it. So one of the biggest indicators, if you're wondering if a guitar is wrong for you, now this is also like, you probably have some suspicion already, but 5 signs that a guitar is probably wrong for you. Number 1 is when you pick it up, the strings are dead. What that probably means is that there's a long stretch of time happening between when you're playing it. And yeah, other things could also be connected to this. You could also have too many guitars. That's probably a sign you have too many guitars, is if you have guitars that strings just go dead, or if you don't remember the last time you changed strings. Now, the worst example of this is, and every now and then I get somebody that says this, they're like, my guitar, I opened the case and there was a crack from the bridge all the way down to the bottom of the guitar. I don't know how that happened. And I'm like, I mean, the only way that could have happened is if you didn't look at it for, 3 or 4 months or a long time, because those cracks don't just happen. They take a long time. So anyway, yeah, I think it's one of those things, like when guitars you love, you find time to play. So for me, there are 2 guitars that I play every single day, and they hang in my house, and they're always around. There's really 3 instruments, but there's 2 hooks in the house. It's my Waterloo WLS and then my Paget, Model 1. Both of those, every time I walk by them, I'm going to pick them up and play them. And, there's also some marital advice. Not great for your marriage, like especially when like we're trying to get kids ready for bed, and then I'm like plunking a guitar and my kids aren't listening, and I'm like, hey, brush your teeth, and I'm working through a new riff. Not good. But anyway, so if your guitar goes a long time, the strings are dead, the fretboard feels crusty, lots of that stuff. So Tom says you can never have too many guitars. He's not wrong. I feel like I almost have too many guitars. I probably have 15 guitars right now, or 20 guitars. I dare not count, but I know that there's more in that stack over here. Yes.
That's 13 just behind you.
Okay, there's 13 back behind us, and there's only 1 that doesn't belong to me back here, right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. 13. So that's 12. Okay. Who's my 12, my 3, and my 1? Okay. So those DX1s are great instruments. You can't go wrong with Martins. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on using a stereo rig with your acoustic? Stereo rigs are amazing for setting up in your bedroom and stuff. But stereo rigs, if you're playing out live, because the only people that would get both of those signals would be right down the middle. And so it's going to be a weird experience for people experiencing the music out in the crowd for the most part. Like if they're just getting the left channel or just getting the right channel, it'll be weird. I love it, but usually stuff ends up getting dumped back to mono. Okay, what's the next question?
Well, first Fender just dropped in.
What? Fender?
Jeremy.
How cool is that? Hey guys, I love Fender, and I did my video on the Tone Master last week, and I fell in love with that piece of gear again. I also have my Fender Acoustic amp that is just one of my favorite. That's, if you're talking about stereo, the new stereo thing. Anyway, that's amazing. That's funny that Fender, no big deal. That's awesome. Cool, let's go to number 2. Number 2, the sign that you got the wrong guitar is that when you pick up that guitar, you only play 2 or 3 riffs that you've always played on it, and you just get stuck in this nostalgic, or like you just get stuck in things you've heard. If you don't pick up your guitar and feel like, if you don't, it was Josh. So if you don't feel like when you pick up a guitar, if you're not hearing new things, discovering new things, playing new things, moving forward as a guitar player, chances are you probably, you could have the wrong guitar. I think it could be, I don't know. I get hung up on, there are certain guitars that I get stuck just playing Blink-182 riffs, or just playing AFI. Certain, for me, it's heavy guitars. It's also you grow and change as a musician. And so for me, I grew up in the punk rock scene, in the metal scene, in hardcore bands. And so most of that stuff, if I play a guitar that's super high gain, when I play my PV Classic 20 mini head, and I go to the full gain setting, I end up just playing the same kind of punk rock riffs that I always play. And so to me, it's without new kinds of music coming in and new discovery, it's it's just, you get kind of hung up and you get painted into a corner. And so it's not saying don't have that. I do think, and I've talked about this before, I think there are certain kinds of guitars you should have. I think if you're building a guitar collection, you need to have 5 or 6 kinds of guitars. There is a place for a really nostalgic guitar that reminds you of your glory days and, reminds you to play the kinds of music that you grew up with. But I think overall, when you're looking for the right guitar is inspiring, and the right guitar is inviting you into a deeper experience of both yourself and new music, and new ways of creating and new sounds. So anyway, Let's see, what did Tech say? Howard, you said, what is number 2? That a guitar is not right for you. Number 2 is that if you pick up a guitar and you just get stuck playing the old riffs over and over, and you don't ever break out into new stuff or, anything new. It still blows my mind the Fender came in here. Cool. So what's number 3?
You frequently modify it.
Number 3, you can't stop messing with it. You keep modifying it, you keep tweaking it, you keep thinking about it. That's one that I should have put in here that I didn't, is that a sign that you probably don't have the right guitar is that you can't stop thinking about it. While you're playing it, you're thinking about the fretboard radius and what fret wire is on this, and maybe I should change out this pickup. I wish this thing had a better volume curve. Maybe I should put a treble bleed on it. When you're in your head, you are not creating. And so there's a great Jimi Hendrix quote that's I'm gonna paraphrase it. It's basically like, don't think about playing guitar, let your feelings be your guide. That's a horribly butchered quote. I'll find the quote at some point. But I think it's really true. I think that the worst thing a guitar could do for you is make you think about it all the time. Great guitars disappear, and you just get to make music and play and think, and you can also play in the dark. Like, you don't have to think about like, oh, well, this one is a different scale length, and so my arm has to go out farther. So, all right. All right, number 4. Number 4, it's just boring. It's just not interesting, or you got it and you just feel like, that's okay. I have some guitars that I just think are okay. And I buy guitars for different reasons. I think we all do. And I hang on to guitars for different reasons. But ultimately, if a guitar is not inspiring, if it doesn't help me discover new music, if I don't lose some sleep thinking about it and wanting to play it, when I see it, I don't run over and pick it up. So let me look around and see what guitar kind of bores me. Okay, this is a weird one. I bought this one last fall, mostly because I just needed fodder for a video, I think. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. This is my PV. This is a PV Falcon, and it has a proper Kaler trim on it, and I put 3 Migas Touch pickups in it, but this guitar, like, it's fine. It's just a little boring for me. And I think that every now and then we get one of those, and that's okay. And but I think just know when to move them on. I mean, I have $200 in this guitar, so it's not the end of the world. If I had $2,000 in this guitar and I found it boring, that would be a whole nother problem. But yeah, and oh look, Guild Acoustics Blake is in here. That's the Facebook group, I think. But yeah, great work with all the recent content. Thank you. And yep, Raphael says, usually happens to me when I settle for a guitar that is being a placeholder for something else. That's really true. When a guitar is just like, it's close. I wanted a J45 and I got a good deal on this Epiphone, and I'll have it for a couple months until I get the one I really want. That's a really good point. I think we have to be careful with, so I want to make a video about sinking funds. How do you save up and actually buy the guitars that you want rather than just getting stuck with placeholder guitars? I think the idea that you could put $50 or $100 away every month, and then in a year you got, $1,000, $1,200, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I can buy the actual guitar I want. I don't have to settle for a faded like a G400. I can actually buy a full proper Gibson SG. And so anyway, that'd be a good video to make, because I think a lot of us, we end up just hanging around with stuff and we think like, well, one day I'll get the guitar that I actually want. And I think that if, I've been able to get the guitars I actually want pretty quickly, and it's been really cool. So yeah, if your guitar is just boring, that's a real thing. So yeah, Blake, Guild Acoustic says, thanks for showing Guild so much love. No problem. Easy. I love Guilds. Yeah, they're pretty easy. It is funny, I have like all 3 of the Guilds in my life right now. 2 of them are friends, and then the third, also friends at Guild. But all of these are going to leave in the next week, and I will be Guildless. No, wait. There's a guild that's coming that I can't tell you about yet, but I will tell you about it at some point. But it's awesome. I'm super excited. It'll be here next week while I'm gone. And then I'll get back and I'll have like 2 days to film a really quick video on it. So anyway, that's right around the same time I'm doing that video with Rob. Anyway, the stress of life making YouTube videos will immediately greet me at the door when I get back from vacation. So anyway, I'll answer this question real quick. Winterbell Life says, what is a good price for a quality vintage guitar? A Dreadnought. Good price point. If you're looking for a vintage Dreadnought, the absolute best, and I mean this ties in exactly to what we were just talking about. So Guild guitars are the best, oldest American-made acoustic guitars that you can buy. You can find good D25s, you can find a Guild D4, you can find maybe even a D40, $700, $800, all the way up. Even the D40s, maybe $1,500, possibly up to $2,000, but they're way more money. Like if you compare it to like to get a standard Martin, like a D18, you're going to be $1,600 if you're really lucky. So, okay. Okay, I'll answer this one too. I have a Takamine acoustic electric, solid spruce, rosewood back and sides, list for 1,700 range, sounds amazing, and a cross between a Gibson and a Martin. Very impressed. I've heard really good things. My experience of Takaminis is that they sound amazing plugged in, and they're dead reliable as playing out guitars, but acoustically they're overbuilt and they're just really sturdy. They don't have as much sustain, and that's just my opinion. It's anecdotal, but just in my experience, that's kind of been where I am. Oh, Steven says, what's the story on my on this piece of live edge back here? So this is black walnut. It grew here in the Shenandoah Valley. Actually grew a couple miles from where I grew up. My dear friend Zeke is a sculptor. He had this. He had intentions for this to become a sculpture of his, but I talked him out of it, and I convinced him to sell it to me. So we put it up right when we first finished the studio a couple months ago. So it's like it's like 7 feet 8 inches. I think it's really big, and we were really torn on how to orient it. Like, should it go up? Should it go down? When we had it the other way, that's how I planned it. But when we put it on the wall, it made the second guitar hang way too low, and it made it to where we couldn't really have amps and stuff underneath it. So usually if I have a guitar that has a little longer scale length, which this one's only 3/8 of an inch longer, but if I have my baritone, which my friend Wilson is borrowing, when I have my baritone, I hang it there because it's such a longer guitar. But it's black walnut. It's got some really cool live edge to it. It also, I finished it with tung oil. Woodworking is still one of my hobbies for sure. When I'm not doing YouTube videos or guitar stuff, I'm trying to make stuff out of wood, and I love doing finish work. So anyway, it's all hand rubbed tung oil. And I did 2 meaty bolts. I think I have one of the, yeah. I have 2 of the extra bolts. This is the hardware that is holding that thing into the wall. Because it's holding, let's see, $5,000, $4,000, $3,000, I've lost track. It's holding like, what is that? $12,000 worth of guitars. So I was going to absolutely guarantee that this thing did not fall off the wall. We also went, if you watch the videos when we built the studio, we did heavy blocking all the way along this back wall because we knew that a bunch of guitars were going to go in there. So they're all going into 2x6s, and so through the drywall, through the 2x6s, and so it is not going anywhere. I did 4 bolts just to be safe. I also relicked these myself. Used some etchant solution, and relic to those and made them look awesome. But yeah, that's the guitar hanger. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite thing in this room as far as like how this whole place came together. But better not rob my place tonight. I'm well insured, and there are security cameras everywhere. All right, do we have more? All right. Number 5. Another 5 sign is that you're just a little too precious with your guitar. You're always concerned about it. Oh boy. Yep. You're always concerned about it breaking or getting damaged. You don't let other people play it. You don't want to take it anywhere. You only play it in a sterile situation with white gloves. There are guitars that are too precious for people. And there are guitars, there are times that, I've owned guitars that were just too nice. They stressed me out and I couldn't handle it, and I ended up moving them on. So I had a James Goodall that was bear claw spruce on the top, and then it was zero coat back and sides. It was African, like jet black mahogany, or jet black ebony on the bridge and fingerboard. It had a zero coat headstock. It was an incredible guitar. It was like an OM size with 12 frets, had a cutaway. I mean, it really wasn't my style guitar, if you know me, and the cutaway and all that. But it was a guitar that was so shockingly nice and in such great condition. And I think they paid $9,000 for it new. And I just couldn't get into it because I was always worried that I was going to break it, damage it, mess it up. Jesse, thank you. That's so kind. Thanks for the super chat. If you want a super chat, that's a great way to make sure I try to get to as many questions as I can. So if you want me to answer questions, that's an easy way to get my attention. So what? Butch says he has 31 guitars. I always find myself playing 3 or 4 on a regular basis. That's true. I don't like. Have you ever heard that phrase when people are like, you can only play one guitar at a time, what's the point? I think that's dumb logic. Because there's like, everybody knows that there are guitars that are definitely different, but I think there probably is a critical mass in which you have more guitars than you could play reasonably. I think that's probably 5 or 6 or 7, somewhere in there. But anyway, okay, yeah, if you have a guitar that you're just worried about breaking, if you're a little too precious with it, if it doesn't go with you, because guitars should stir up in you creativity and friendship, music and friendship. That's what I always talk about. Like the right guitar in your lap will make you want to play more music and make you want to take that music out to friends and connect you with other people. So anyway, there are guitars that are just a little too dear for that. So, all right, and that might be the end of that. And now we're going to do some announcements. So, right? Oh, there is a 6th one. I forgot. All right. So the 6th, and I've kind of said this throughout these other, the first 5, is that if you get a guitar that just makes you feel stuck, if it just feels uninspiring, and it's hard because there are guitars. Well, and here's a good question for you guys. What guitar have you had that you should like that you just don't? You haven't stuck with, you haven't bonded with. It just, I don't know. Because I've talked about this before. Let me grab it. So this is my 1970 Martin D41. There are, I would say there are no guitars. There is no other guitar that I thought I wanted so much. And now that I have it, it's just not my thing. I haven't connected with it. It's pretty out of tune. Haven't played it in a couple days. This is a guitar that, I mean, I've talked a ton about this one on the channel. It's a guitar I really like the look of. I love how it looks, how gold this top is, how black the ebony is. I love these giant abalone inlays. I love the vertical Martin headstock. I love the old worn gold Grovers. I love the volute on this guitar. I love the look of this East Indian rosewood. But there's a guitar I just don't play. Like, it just doesn't. There's no spark for me in this one. And so this guitar does need a couple things. This guitar needs a neck reset and a new saddle. and I've double checked and it's going to be a while. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm trying to figure it out. But anyway, with this guitar, I do feel a little stuck, feel a little uninspired. And anyway, so have I ever played a Larrivee travel guitar? The T40, the T44. I cannot find one, and I'm in the Nashville area. I believe I've played a ton of Larrivees. I haven't played any of the travel ones. But anyway, yeah. So Winter Bell Life says Taylor. They're great, but I just don't like the sound for me. I'm a Martin guy. I get that. Not all Taylors are for me, but there are a couple Taylors. I think I now have like full blown nostalgia, and the AD17 Blacktop just does a thing for me. It just sounds like cool old. Just sounds like the records I loved from a lot of alternative artists in the late 90s, early 2000s. So anyway, let me put this one away. All right. Yeah, I think that's the end of the. I think that's the end. That's just. It's not nearly a complete perspective or a complete take on like how to know if a guitar's not right for you. But this is just kind of shoot from the hip advice from buying and selling thousands of guitars to find when guitars don't spark joy. This is what's going on in my heart and mind about them. Yeah, there's some stuff coming back and forth talking about Kentucky and Tennessee. Is mahogany better suited for a dread or an OM versus rosewood? That's a good question. Yeah, we can turn the slide off, I guess. Keep you on your toes. So it's all preference. Mahogany versus rosewood. Rosewood has a lot more bass and a lot more treble, has a little scooped mids, and mahogany is a little more just present through the whole thing. And so it's all preference. For me, I love mahogany dreadnoughts, but I also love like my Paget Model 1. Probably the closest in the Gibson, in the Martin world would be a J40, if like a jumbo size from Martin, if it had mahogany back and sides. But yeah, it's all preference. Thomas says he loved that Guild 8-string baritone I reviewed. Tried to get one, but they're back ordered everywhere unless you know where I can get one. I do not know where you can get one because I'm on that same list. That is a guitar that I'm buying. I am buying one absolutely as soon as I can. I just talked to the artist rep at Guild, and I'm going to be getting one. I'll be getting one of those. It looks like it's going to be October, maybe November. So, but that's a guitar that I'm super excited about, and I just want to own for a long time because it's just so cool and clever. So, Joshua Henderson says, what does my Husson Dalton do for you that a D18 doesn't? I've been thinking about getting a Husson Dalton mahogany dread. So, there's only maybe like a 5 to 10% difference between a standard D18. Well, okay. My Husson Dalton is a TDM, so it's the traditional dreadnought. So, it's forward shifted bracing. The bracing is also scalloped, and it has a through saddle. So it's a little different than a regular D18, but it's punchy and loud and present. The thing the thing is, maybe I would feel different if I was from Pennsylvania, but there's an immense amount of pride for me that Husson Dalton is made 30 minutes from where I grew up, and they're good friends and they build great guitars, and I've been there, hundreds of times, and it's just a place that I really love. I don't know if I've been there hundreds of times. It might be a little hyperbole. But yeah. Oh, Butch, I saw you mention this the other day. So you said if I found another J15, I've been looking for one for over a year. Came home from the service and got sorry. And the one my brother gave me is now gone. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll keep looking. That's kind of one of the hard parts of the guitar hunting life is that you don't usually find the same things twice. So other people have looked and asked if I could find another D17, like I found it on the Gulf Coast. I've been looking for one of those for 15 years, which is also funny that I immediately sold that one. But I also sold that one because I just had no place for it. Like I'm full of of guitars, I think. So, Greg says, Jeremy, it would speak to you if you got the neck reset. Maybe. I'm going to try it. Maybe. I'm going to commit as little as I can to keeping it or not keeping it. I don't know. Yeah, I also know we're just in, just follow where the river is taking us right now in the metaphor, the river of life. So anyway, all right. Well, a couple announcements. You can get those ready now. So a couple announcements. Number one, Mr. Chapman himself from Malta, Monkey Lord himself, is coming, and I think it's on autoplay, which is why it keeps changing.
Oh.
Monday, September 20th at... Nope, hang on. That is not right. It's not 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It's 4 p.m. Central European Time. That's my bad. So 11 a.m. You'll see the notification just went out, so you'll see that it's like set and it'll premiere. That'll be here on YouTube. And I'm incredibly thankful for Rob and for just the opportunity to talk to him because like I said earlier, I think few people have had as much influence on guitar culture and guitar life as Rob. Now, he's much more of an electric guitar player, but I'm also really curious to talk to him about owning a guitar brand, running a guitar brand that ships all around the world, and just, I mean, I can't imagine how stressful that would be. And so, anyway, okay, so that's the first one. The next one, fresh beans just showed up today. So if you use, no one used the coffee. No one used the code last week. Sold a couple bags of coffee. No one used the code. Use the code Rise and Grind, and you'll get 20% off your coffee. And do that today or tomorrow, and they will ship. Otherwise, it'll be a week because I'm going on vacation. So anyway, Rise and Grind. Get your coffee beans. Also, there are some hats still left. We're doing another run of hats. They're $30. They're $25 and $5 shipping. They are so cool, so comfortable. I've worn mine pretty much every day over the last couple weeks. Big fan of those. They're awesome. If you want a hat. There are also some shirts. I am sold out of some shirts, and I've got some sizes, and life is complicated, and the world's economy is complicated, and so the shirts like the red one I'm wearing today is basically out. I can't find them anymore, so it's going to be a minute before we get the red ones back in. But I'll have black shirts back in here soon. But I think that's the end of... All right, yeah, I think that's it. So that's the end. Let me see if there's any other questions, comments, slanders, remarks. What was the one? Did you notice that J35 reissues went way up on a secondary marker? Current price is $1,800 to $2,000. They were $1,300 when they came out in 2012. Why the price jump? Demand. I mean, so supply and demand is the short and unfortunate answer. More people have learned how to play guitar. More people have picked up guitar in the last 2 years than in probably a decade before that. And I think that, like, when you, as I've talked to guitar brands, like every guitar brand that we know could build guitars as fast as they can and not get caught up. I talked to the Taylor rep, and I need to double check this, but I mean, they were something insane behind. Like, I think Taylor right now is 18,000 or 20,000 guitars behind. I might even be way off of that. It might even be a bigger number than that. But just so many people have learned how to play. J35s are also really fun guitars. I think there's also some restructuring on how Gibson makes their guitars and what models they're doing, because they've killed the J15, which I thought was the absolute best guitar that they've made other than the J45. They now have the G45, and the G45 is an OM depth or a triple O depth, and then dreadnought size. That's a weird guitar. So anyway, Butch says, is the sound comparable or close? That was the guitar I used to record. Yeah, they don't have as much low end in my experience. But anyway, somebody asked, Hector says, what's my favorite couch size guitar? My Waterloo WLS. I also think that guitar is really affordable. I think if you're looking for a smaller guitar to play sitting around, depending on your budget. The Gretsch, is it Jim Dandy? Whatever there's a really affordable Gretsch, like $150. Then behind that, the Guild M120 is really great. It's a good size guitar. Beyond that, a Taylor GS Mini is a wonderful guitar. As you move up, like my Waterloo is expensive compared to all those. It's like $2,000, $2,200. So anyway, inflation, COVID, there's a bunch of explanations why, all that stuff. But anyway, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna end. I said we're gonna do 30 minutes. We did 50 minutes, but this is super fun. I love hanging out with all of you, and I'm thankful for the community we have here. Please hit a thumbs up on the video. That is really, really helpful. Painless to you. Make sure you're subscribed. Also, please use Rise and Grind to buy some coffee. I have, I think, 10 more bags that just showed up today that were roasted yesterday. So buy those so they don't sit around for a week. And yeah, so if you have questions, comments, if you want time with me, go to jeremytheguitarhunter.com and you can go to the Let's Talk button and you can find a time on your schedule that works with my schedule, and we can get on a video call and we'll talk together. Now keep in mind, I'll be out next week, but I would love to spend time with you guys. That's one of my favorite things I get to do these days. So anyway, thanks so much. Have fun. Have a good week. And y'all are the best. Go fill the world with music and friendship. This whole time I didn't even finish my cup of coffee. I'm like halfway. So, see ya.